Hello my dear ICSE students, welcome to Study Journal. Today I am going to explain you line by line the first poem of the ICSE English Literature's treasure trove book, The Heart of the Tree by Henry Cuyler Bunner, an American novelist, journalist and poet. So what is this poem all about? This poem highlights the need for planting a tree and the various benefits derived by planting a tree, including ecological, social and economic benefits. The poet has divided the poem into 3 stanzas. Let me explain them one by one and each one of them line by line. First stanza. What does he plant who plants a tree? He plants a friend of sun and sky. He plants the flag of breezes free, the shaft of beauty towering high. He plants a home to heaven and I, for song and mother croon of bird, in hushed and happy twilight heard, the treble of heaven's harmony. These things he plants who plants a tree. The poet begins the first stanza by asking a question. What does he plant who plants a tree? He does this to drive curiosity in us to read the poem, and thus he sets the tone for the entire poem such that the entire poem is the answer for this question. He plants a friend of sun and sky. Here, the poet personifies tree as a friend of sun and sky because the tree rises high towards the sun and sky as if the trees wish to befriend them. Also, the trees absorb the heat of the scorching sun and save the earth from excessive temperature. He plants the flag of breezes free, the shaft of beauty towering high. The poet says that the leaves of the trees are like the flag which flutters freely in the cool breeze. The literal meaning of shaft is an entire body of a long weapon such as an arrow or a spear or a beam or ray of light. In this poem, the tree is compared to a shaft which grows straight towards the sky very high. Both these lines are examples of metaphors. He plants a home to heaven and I. An I means close to or nearby. But how does one who plants a tree plant a home to heaven? The following lines provide us the answer. For song and mother croon of bird, in hushed and happy twilight heard, the treble of heaven's harmony. Here, mother croon means the soft humming and singing of the mother bird to her young ones in a sentimental manner. Twilight is the soft light seen in the sky before the rising and especially after the setting of the sun. And hushed means quiet. It is mentioned as hushed and happy twilight because it is the time when all the work of the day is mostly over and all the members of the family are together and happy in the beautiful dim light after all the day's work. Here, the phrase hushed and happy is an example of alliteration. So, the poet compares the above scenario to heaven and the treble, that is the shrill voice of the mother croon, as the heaven's harmony, where harmony means a pleasing combination of sounds. The poet ends this stanza by telling us these are the things which are planted by the person by just planting a single tree. Second stanza. What does he plant who plants a tree? He plants cool shade and tender rain and seed and bud of days to be, and years that fade and flush again. He plants the glory of the plain. He plants the forest's heritage, the harvest of a coming age, the joy that unborn eyes shall see. These things he plants who plants a tree. The poet begins the next stanza by asking the same question as in the first stanza. What does he plant who plants a tree? This is to emphasize the benefits of planting a tree. He plants cool shade and tender rain. The trees provide us cool shade to rest and protects us against the scorching sun. Trees also help us in bringing rain, which in turn makes the whole planet green. And seed and bud of days to be. Days to be here refers to future. It means that in the future, these trees provide us seeds, buds, flowers and fruits, and years that fade and flush again. This line represents the cycle of nature. The trees which are tender and green now will one day become old and fade away, while new trees flush. Here, flush refers to the growing of fresh shoots. He plants the glory of the plain. Planting trees in the plains make them look beautiful and lovely with their greens, which otherwise would give a dull and deserted look to the plains. He plants the forest's heritage. Heritage means something that is handed down from the past. As you know, today's present is future's past. I repeat, today's present is future's past. So, a tree which is planted today may be a part of a forest in the future. The harvest of a coming age, the joy that unborn eyes shall see. The poet says that we get the result of planting the trees even in the future. That is, when our future generations are born, seeing these trees and their reapings will make them joyful and happy. These things he plants who plants a tree. The poet concludes this stanza by this line as in the first stanza, emphasizing the things which one plants by planting a tree. Third stanza. What does he plant who plants a tree? He plants in sap and leaf and wood, in love of home and loyalty, and forecast thought of civic good, his blessings on the neighborhood, who in the hollow of his hand holds all the growth of all our land. A nation's growth from sea to sea stirs in his heart who plants a tree. The poet begins the last stanza too with the same question. What does he plant who plants a tree? I hope you know the reason why the poet has mentioned it again and again, as I have already discussed about this. It is to set the tone for the entire poem as well as for each stanza, to drive curiosity in us to know the answer for this question and to emphasize the benefits of planting a tree. He plants in sap and leaf and wood. Here the phrase sap and leaf and wood is an example of metonymy. Metonymy is the use of a characteristic or name of an object to identify an entire object or a related object. Here, the poet uses the words like sap, leaf and wood to refer to the entire tree. In love of home and loyalty. Why does a person plant a tree? From the poet's point of view, it is because of his love towards his home. Here, home refers to the whole planet. And forecast thought of civic good. Here, civic means the society. The person who plants a tree is the one whose thoughts are about the goodness of his society and people. His blessings on the neighborhood. Here, the letter H in the word his is capitalized because the person who is planting a tree is considered divine, and by his acts of planting a tree, he is blessing his neighborhood. Who in the hollow of his hand holds all the growth of all our land, a nation's growth from sea to sea, stirs in his heart who plants a tree. When a person is going to plant a tree, he takes the sapling of the tree and holds it within both his palms together, which is beautifully described in these lines. He not only holds the sapling, but also the growth of all our land. Trees are something through which we can get much resources that it can lead to a nation's economical, environmental, cultural and financial development. Today, the sapling may be small, but in future it will grow big such that it contributes in the growth of the nation from all over the planet, that is, from sea to sea. So, these are the feelings which stir in the heart of the person who plants a tree. And now, The poem has come to an end. Don't you think that there are specific benefits mentioned in each stanza? Yes, there are. In the first stanza, the poet mentions the importance of trees in maintaining the holistic beauty of nature. In the second stanza, he lists a set of benefits derived by planting a tree which play a major role in making this earth a better living place for future generations. And in the third stanza, the poet describes the feelings of the person who plants a tree towards his society and people and the overall development of the country by planting a tree. Hope you have understood the poem. Consider subscribing if you are new to the channel and share it with your friends if you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.